Hello everyone, welcome back to the second edition of my budget deck series here. I had a lot of really amazing positive feedback on the last video we did with the priest, so I'm super keen to jump into this deck. Before we go into exactly what I've got for you today, we'll go through the criteria. So we don't have a set dust limit on our deck. What we're going to do is focus on the core of a deck, so the main things that you're going to need to get this deck going, to the skeleton of things, if you will, and then you can build around that. We also want our deck to have a nice clean upgrade path, so this means that you'll be able to end up with a top tier deck, a high tier deck, by just spending some more dust and adding some more legendaries or epics to that deck. The other thing is we want to prioritize cards that aren't going to be rotating. So we're just about to go into a new year, so the next release sees us lose a couple of sets, and we don't really want to, or I don't want you to be crafting rares and epics and things like that you're only going to get about a month's use out of. Hopefully it's a month, sooner the better. So without further ado, let's jump over to the deck. Before I do, we're doing Mage. Before we go into the actual deck and stuff, I want to look at some of the top Mage decks, particularly ones that we've been playing. Unfortunately, some of the Mage archetypes like Big Spell and Exodia are simply way out of the scope of a budget list. So we're going to look at Secret / Tempo Mage. Here is a list that I pulled off of Vicious Syndicate, just the standard Secret Mage. We can see a lot of cards that we've seen before. A Secret Mage is really built around this Counterspell and Explosive Runes combination, and playing them for free with Curator Mage or Cabal Lackey, just being a massive tempo play. The Explosive Runes or the Counterspell hopefully dealing with your opponent's next threat or their next spell, whilst also building a board with Curator Mage, or a smaller board with with Cabal Lackey. This usually lets you cast another spell or creature as well. Quite good with Medivh's Valet on turn 3. But that's kind of the what the deck's trying to do. You also got Cabal Crystal Runner, which is usually a 2 mana or a 0 mana 5/5. And lots of ways to burn your opponent down once they start to stabilize with Firelands Portal, Fireball, Frostbolt, and this list here even plays a singular Pyroblast. And many of the lists you'll see will play Alaneth and or Antonidas as another late game option. Alaneth hopefully drawing us into the burn, and Antonidas just being a way to get more burn. We've also played APX Void's Fungal Mage, which I had quite a lot of fun with. Which is similar in a way, except it's got the Fungal Mancer near the top to buff our minions, and usually the deck's quite good at staying on board, so you can buff quite a few things. However, that hasn't been working out quite so well lately, and I'll get into that in a second. Alright, so we've taken a look at some of the better Mage decks that are around. Let's actually look at the core that I've come up with for this Mage deck. So you can see the spell package. This is probably going to be the main dust expenditure if you don't have Counterspells or Explosive Runes. Great thing is Counterspell is in Classic, and Explosive Runes just came out, so you're going to get plenty of use out of these. I've also included the Curator Mage, so this is going to probably be one of the more expensive decks that we go through, but I think these 6 rares are really worth the craft and really combine quite well together. Outside of that, the burn of Fireball and Frostbolt. Frostbolt's both a way to finish our opponent and keep board control. Mana Worm's probably one of the best tempo cards in the game. The amount of games you win by having this on turn 1 versus not having it on turn 1 are going to be you're going to really feel the difference when you have it versus when you don't have it. and it is one of the cards we want to be conscious of trying to mulligan into. Arcanologist is really suits our like we've got really high impact secrets, and we love curving like turn 2 Arcanologist into turn 3 Kirin Mage, and in fact keep it, our ideal hand is almost like Mana Worm Arcanologist Kirin Mage or something like that. The only card in the core that I think, other than that there are 6 rares, the only card in the core that might be an issue for some people is this Medivh's Valet. It is from Karazhan, so it is about to rotate out. However, if you have bought Karazhan, or if you are happy spending a little bit of extra dust on a really high impact card that may be about to rotate out, Medivh's Valet is the one to go for, at least in my opinion. So that's really the core of the deck. It's 16 cards, so we are going to have a lot of space to build around that, and I'll show you what I've come up with. So some of the choices in here, I'll go through the main one now. Twilight Flamecaller. This is a kind of a meta call. I was playing some games with the deck before, and we faced like 3 Dude Paladins in a row. Dude Paladin being the more silver hand recruit focused Paladin deck, and this list it was really struggling with that. You know, they don't really care too much about explosive runes. They're going to take some damage off of it, but mostly they're just they're able to control the board better than us, and we don't have any sweepers. And ideally we'd probably try and play maybe like or most other decks would play the potion, Volcanic Potion, that deals 2 everything. However, that does kill most of our minions as well. So whilst Flamecaller is a bit of a nombo with the Cabal Lackey, I think that it's an okay call. We might want to cut it down to 1 if we stop seeing so many Paladin decks. But I'm keen to test this out, and this is something that you should definitely experiment with based on what you feel like you're hitting a lot of in the ladder. So I've included 1 Cabal Lackey in here. We've seen some lists that play 2, we've seen some lists that play 1. I feel like with 4 secrets, having 3 ways to reduce your secrets down to 0 rather, is about the right place to be. I've included, once again, this is because we are seeing so many Paladins, 1 Acidic Swampooze. This also helps fill out just having a couple more 2-drops, as we do lose Primordial Glyph, which was a great card to play on turn 2. Moving up, I've got 2 Arcane Intellects in here. Because we don't have Alaneth to lean on, we do want some way to kind of draw into our finishes at the end, draw into our burn. But I could definitely see cutting this down to 1. Other than that, right at the end, instead of going back to what we were saying with the Dude Paladin and just that deck being much better at controlling the board than us, I've gone for Cobalt Scalebane instead of Fungalmancer. Scalebane just has a bigger body, it's a bit harder to take care of, and you feel a lot better playing a Scalebane on turn 5 with nothing in play than you will playing a Fungalmancer on turn 5 with nothing in play. The 2 Spellbreakers here, going back to what we mentioned in the Priest video, which is if we don't have a lot of the high rarity cards, we want to play the cards that are most high impact in certain matchups, and we really don't lose a lot from including Spellbreaker over something like, say, Water Elemental. Though if you feel like you want to be playing Water Elemental, I would not fault you for swapping that over. Other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. Firelands Portal wasn't in the core of the deck because it is a Karazhan card, but this is one of the best commons that have ever been released, and I think it's definitely worth the craft. Some notable exclusions, or some cards that you might want to consider adding to your deck. Flame Geyser is nice early board control. Shimmering Tempest is a good way at high rolling your opponent. If you feel like you want to play some more RNG cards, and you want to try and high roll the cards that are amazing in the matchup, Shimmering Tempest is a good one. It also helps add some extra 2-drops to the deck, which is a spot that's pretty important. I gave some thought to adding a 5th secret to the deck. We saw the other list was playing Ice Block as another option for secrets, and that probably ultimately 2 Medivh's Valet might only be correct with 5 secrets, but right now Mirror Entity and Frozen Clone, if we can find it, Frozen Clone, which are the 2 budget secrets that we have access to. Oh, and Ice Barrier, of course. Frozen Clone, Mirror Entity aren't great right now. Not a lot of people playing either big minions that are undercosted, which is where Mirror Entity is great, where your opponent's playing some big statted minions, and not a lot of impactful battle cries out there, which is where Frozen Clone is quite good. And Ice Barrier, we are more of an aggressive deck, so I think once this Ice Barrier starts triggering, we've probably already lost the game. But if you think that you're seeing a lot of those things that I just mentioned, chucking in a Frozen Clone or a Mirror Entity as a 5th secret could actually be really good. And you could even throw in another Cabal Lackey if you go up to that many secrets. Polymorph, if you are facing a lot of the Q-block decks, I think Polymorph is fantastic right now. More people, I really think more people should be playing it, as this answers Void Lords really well. And if that's what you're seeing, maybe cutting one of the spell breakers for a Polymorph is pretty reasonable. Water Elemental's great, just a nice, well-statted creature. But I think we already had enough 4-drops in here, but definitely worth consideration. And the other one was maybe a main deck Flame Strike. Thought about that, or a way to clear the board. But once again, that might be a case where we are probably losing the game by the time we're casting this. Oh, and I did also consider a single Faceless Summoner just at the top end. Other than that, the other cards that we were considering were the Bone Mare, as this is a way to get power on the board immediately as well, with the +4/+4. Unfortunately, with the nerf going to 8 cost, it might just be out of the realm. Are we going to have minions on the board on turn 8-9 when we also have this in hand? It seems unlikely. We already went through the Fungal Mancer, and the other card that I was considering was actually this Corrosive Sludge, just a bigger statted ooze, especially when a lot of these weapons are like Rallying Blade. They're coming down on turn 3. We don't want to play out have to play out Swamp Ooze on turn 2 to just be on board, and then only for them to play Unidentified Maul and attack into us. So I was definitely considering that one. The only other thing was because a lot of the burn in for Mage right now is at high rarities, and there's actually not a lot of it that goes face. Reckless Rocketeer is a card that you can always add into your deck if you feel like you need to close out the game, or Leroy Jenkins if you have one. But budget Leroy Jenkins, it also does the job, hitting for 5, and maybe finding room for one of these is where you want to be at. Anyway, this is what I'm going to run with. Like I said, lots of flexible cards there, and you've got plenty of room to move, and you should definitely change your deck based on what you think you're seeing at your ranks. So, and to cut things there, we'll be back with some games, and I'll see you. Alright, we are here with the game. As we mentioned before, we are seeing a lot of Dude Paladin on the ladder. So Do we keep this Frostbolt? Is the question. A lot of the threats they have early are like Frostbolt's almost overkill. Like the best thing you're hitting with this is maybe like knife jugglers and stuff, so I think we want to try and draw into our Twilight Flame Caller. Yep. Ooh, Swamp Ooze. Okay. I think looking at the data that Vicious Syndicate put out there, shout out to Vicious Syndicate by the way, if you ever want to get some good stats, they have them. But some of the data out there said that Secret Mage is pretty unfavored against Paladin. But it had a pretty high win rate because Paladin was underrepresented, but now that Paladin's overrepresented, I think we are probably in a pretty bad spot. So maybe it was a bad day to choose to do Mage for this series, but we will see. So we have the coin, so I think getting this counter spell down is really good. It's pretty frustrating. But hopefully their hand is full of like call to arms and stuff. So I think we just want to silence the War Leader. What else can we do? We can get this Scalebane down, which seems like a really good way to die. Yeah. Unfortunately, it does mean that we're probably going to end up hitting a Divine Favor with this counterspell, which I guess is fine. But I would prefer to be getting those Call to Arms. Or a Secret. Unfortunate. Megazord. Jeez. Whew. This deck is really good. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do here. Yeah. Unfortunately, they just got under us there. But that's one of the strengths of the Paladin deck versus a lot of Mage decks, is that it's kind of doing what we want to be doing, but better. It just struggles a bit more to close out the game against like decks that are attacking against creatures. So we got a Priest, so I think just keeping these two is fine. Yeah, whereas we're going to struggle more against decks that have healing and get out of range of our burn. Because really, past turn 6, we don't have a fun time. If they want to draw off of this, we're totally fine with that. We are listening to Blurred City Lights. You can catch them on Bandcamp. Been enjoying them quite a bit. So we'll go Explosive Rings there. Just, I can imagine we're probably up against with the Shadow Ascendant, probably up against either big like a spiteful priest, or could be combo. I haven't seen too many combo priests running the Shadow Ascendant, but I really like it. I'm happy with them spending their mana to draw 1 card, but drawing 2 is maybe a few too many. Interesting. So we do get wrecked by a Duskbreaker here. Are they on Spotify too? They might be on Spotify. I don't use Spotify a lot, so I cannot comment. Okay, so it is Spiteful. So, unfortunately, these counter spells are going to be incredibly good or incredibly bad. Okay, so now the choice is: do we play both one of these spell breakers and ping and try and go around? Probably not. We can still win this match, but it's gonna be tough. Especially if they rip a Frostbolt off this. Unfortunately, this is where the teching in the flame callers is gonna bite us a little bit, because they're real bad. They're real bad in this matchup. Okie dokie. I guess hope that they try and play Free from Amber this turn. That'd be great. No. I don't think there's any taunts at 10, so that's good. Yeah, our opponent's doing really well and just at both deploying threats and healing every turn. So I would say that this is probably going to be the end of us. Yeah, fair enough. We had a pretty reasonable draw there. I think it's important to realize that there were probably more improvements we could make with our plays rather than just being like, oh, we had a bad draw or whatever. Like we hit a lot of our key cards, and maybe we could have spent more time going face rather than battling over the board, or that turn when they did drop a Duskbreaker, we could have tried to not play into it so much. save some of our resources. But I think the deck still performed quite alright. Alright. I have no idea what Shaman could be playing. It's probably like a Evolve Shaman, Token Shaman. So I'm going to keep this Twilight Flamecaller. Do I want to keep Counterspell? Sorry if it's Murlocs, but I think we'll dump it. Try and get something to fill in our curve. Yeah, there we go. I think this hand is super sweet. Unless our opponent's playing like Control Shaman or something. Who knows? Definitely, whenever I see a Warrior or a Shaman right now, I'm not too sure what to expect. And I think those two decks will be both the hardest, but maybe the most fun budget decks to make. If you have any budget deck recommendations, definitely hit me up with some deck codes for me to check out. So, always interested and always concerned that I'm wrong about everything. So. It sucks if they have a lightning storm here, but oh well. We'll take that. I think, especially right now, Maelstrom Portal is probably going to be a bit more likely. Okay. We're pretty happy with that devolve. But there might be some better situations where our opponent could have played it, and the fact they didn't develop their board as well. Wonder what they were trying to do there. If they were just baiting it out, or if they actually intended to like play a Maelstrom Portal or something. Yeah, these flame callers are looking a little bit awkward. Freeze there could actually be pretty good if they don't have Lightning Storm. Like maybe this forces them to just let it rip and hope that they get the 50-50 and dealing more damage. Mana Tide. Okay. Do we want to just silence the Mana Tide and get in? I think so. This is a really important turn here. If they have a big taunt, that's gonna suck. Especially because we just played our Spellbreaker. But I think this play is more of the one that makes it more likely for us to get some damage in next turn and kill them with the Firelands Portal. Yeah, so we got them with that, because we can coin Firelands Portal. There we go. Alright. So I think we'll do one more. Hey. So hopefully if you're trying to play this deck at like, you know, ranks 20 through 15, it's a bit more of how you want things to go. I certainly hope you're not seeing like tier 1 dude paladin at rank 20. I think I'm really excited for the ranked play changes. It should hopefully fix a lot of that stuff up. another one where these flame callers are a bit of a liability. We don't want to play. No, I don't think I want to play Kabalaki. Like, we could play it, and then if they have North Shire Cleric, we can attack Ping. You're still seeing tier 1 dude Paladin rank 20? That sucks, my guy. Yeah, hopefully a lot of those people will get filtered down, or at least that a lot of those people will get filtered down. And it may be the case that, like, rank 19 is the new rank 20 or something. Alright, so this still could be anything, but makes me think it's more likely to be Inner Fire Priest. So what do we want to do about that? Own face. With the Duskbreaker. Yep. That Duskbreaker is significantly worse than this. So the question is, are we dead? Cross our fingers. Cross our fingers. 28's a lot of damage on turn 6. They do have to have both Divine Spirits though. Pint size is interesting. Pint size horror. Maybe this is Raza instead? Huh. Was certainly not expecting that. Interesting. Oh, Steel Priest, maybe. Nice. Dang, Moss Binders. I just take it anyway. Take that, Moss Binder. A 3 mana 3/3 that deals 3 damage to all minions. What is a 4 mana 3/3? so it's not that good. But yeah, Dustbreaker is very good. Though, they... Okay. Glad we killed that boss binder. Alright. Well, I think I'll stop it there for the games, but definitely give this one a shot. Unfortunately, we didn't have as much success with it as I would have hoped, but I think it's still a great deck for you to be playing at those higher ranks. Once again, take a look at all the flex slots. You know, if you think you're not getting a lot of use out of the Acidic Swampus or these Twilight Flamecallers that I've included, feel free to cut those for some more consistent threats. After playing those games, I'd be super keen to try out this Shimmering Tempest, actually. Or even like a Cone of Gold. That could be pretty interesting. But give it a try. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any changes that you make to the deck that have been working out to you. And I think if you wanted to take the next step with this deck, the first thing would be getting those Cabal Crystal Runners in there. That's a big part of this deck, and we definitely feel the hurt of not being able to follow up our really great turn 3 Blaze with a high tempo turn 4 or 5 play. And beyond that, the legendaries, if you have them or you want to craft them, Alaneth or Antonidas, even Leroy makes a great addition to the deck. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll be back on Friday, and let me know which decks you want to see. Until then, have a good one.